Hi, BookTube, it's Gina. Well, it feels like winter is officially here. Does it feel like that where you are? I thought since winter is here and it kind of puts me in a bit of a blah mood, that it would be fun to talk to you today about some of my favorite winter books. Now, I've got a variety of things here, a couple middle grades, one nonfiction, and these are just some of my favorite books that are either set in winter or have a wintry theme, and I thought it'd be fun to just run through some of them today, remind myself of what I love about winter to kind of help get me through these gray, drizzly days here in Seattle. So the first thing I'm going to talk about, this is actually also one of my favorite springtime books, but this is The Wind in the Willows. And the reason that I love this in winter is it's got one of the best winter scenes I have ever read in any book. Now, the opening of this book is set in spring, and it's so wonderful. But as we get on in the book, let's see, and on page 60 here, we get to winter. And there's a scene where Mole and Ratty are lost in the snow in the woods, and they're cold and they're scared, and they get rescued by Mr. Badger. And I'm just going to read you a brief part of this when Mr. Badger finds them kind of stumbling around in the woods. And it says, "The kindly badger thrust them down on a settle to toast themselves at the fire and bade them remove their wet coats and boots. Then he fetched them dressing gowns and slippers and himself bathed the mole's shin with warm water and mended the cut with sticking plaster till the whole thing was just as good as new, if not better. In the embracing light and warmth, warm and dry at last, with weary legs propped up in front of them, and a suggestive clink of plates being arranged on the table behind, it seemed to the storm-driven animals now in safe anchorage that the cold and trackless wild wood just left outside was miles and miles away, and all that they had suffered in it a half-forgotten dream." And it goes on to talk about what they eat. They're sitting in front of the fire. Badger has made them up really cozy little beds, and it's just a wonderful scene. So I like to read that scene, at least that scene, if not the entire book, every winter. Now, the next book I have, and these are not in any particular order, these are all ones that I love, is Highrising by Angela Thirkle. And look at that cover. This is the first in her Barsetshire Chronicles. It's set in the fictional area of Barsetshire, same as Anthony Trollope's. Very, very different books, obviously, but this is about a young woman and her young son who go to Highrising to spend Christmas, and hijinks ensue. Angela Thirkle is funny. She's got such a witty style. This is probably not even my favorite one of her books. I've been collecting. Oh, you can't see them; they're down on my bottom shelf. I've been collecting some more of her books, and I got a big stack of them to look forward to. I haven't read them all, but this is a great one that is set in winter at Christmas time. The next one is an Agatha Christie. This is Murder at Hazelmoor, also known as the Sittaford Mystery. And of course, I can't talk much about this one, but let's just say that the winter setting is crucial to the plot of this. This is a standalone. It is neither Miss Marple nor Hercule Poirot, but it's wonderful and it's very wintry with the mystery, which I love. Next is a middle grade, and you guys know I love this book. This was a debut last year that I read and absolutely loved. It is A Place to Hang the Moon by Kate Albus. This is about a set of orphans who get evacuated during World War II. They get evacuated to the country to, well, the plot is that they are evacuated to find a new family since they're orphans. And it is just such a sweet book. This one's also got, it's not a specific Christmas book, but it's got such cozy Christmas scenes and cozy winter scenes in it that I absolutely love. Here's a small example. Before Anna opened her eyes the next morning, she wished fervently for the sort of miracle she had read of the night before in The Little Princess. Concentrating very hard, she conjured a cheery fire in a grate, a table draped in white damask and piled high with warm buns and steaming mugs of hot chocolate. Opening her eyes at last, she felt a chill of disappointment that no such magic had occurred. So the orphans have a very hard time when they first get evacuated. They get billeted with families that are not very nice, but of course it has a very sweet ending. And it's very bookish. It's got a lot of references to the books that the orphans read. One of the characters is a librarian, so it's a really, really cozy book. Next is one of my favorite D.E. Stevenson books. This is Shoulder the Sky. Look at that cover, set, of course, in winter. This is about a young couple that moves to a fairly rural area of Scotland, and they're newlyweds and they're trying to settle in, and the winter scene is very important to this story also. And look, isn't that just adorable? So, D.E. Stevenson is one of my favorite authors, and I just love this book. Next, one of my favorite authors. Now, I'm not talking about Winter Solstice by Rosamund Pilcher, because I think I've talked about that in every single video I've done about winter and Christmas this year. But of course, that's one of my favorites. But there are some more. And my next favorite of hers that has sort of a wintry theme is The Day of the Storm. This is one of her short books, so it's not as robust as the longer books are. These short books are more, I would say, typical quick romance novels. But this one is set, of course, in a wintry environment. And the first sentence is, "It all started on a Monday at the end of January, a dull day at a dull time of the year. Christmas and the New Year were over and forgotten, and yet the new season had not yet started to show its face. London was cold and raw, the shops filled with empty hope, and clothes for cruising." That's what I'm doing right now. I'm dreaming about cruising. So these short books they're not spectacular. They are not her best books, but they're so much fun, so much romance. I really do love them. And then lastly, my only nonfiction in this pile is Martha's Vineyard, Isle of Dreams by Susan Branch. So this is a memoir of when Susan Branch got divorced. She was living in California, and she happened to land in Martha's Vineyard in winter and bought this little, rather ramshackle cottage. And it's a memoir of how she pulls herself back together again after a difficult time in her life. And it's set in Martha's Vineyard, and it is just wonderful. Let's see, the first sentence in this one is, "Phew, I thought, that's cold. I peeked through the plane window to see what was out there. A cluster of Boston skyscrapers were vaguely silhouetted black against the sky. City lights diffused in the frigid air. In the distance, a pink horizon line slashed through the smoky blue dawn at the edge of the dark and menacing sea. So she's heading to Martha's Vineyard. And I love her style in these books. They're handwritten, hand illustrated, and she just has such a wonderful voice, such a cozy philosophy of life. I absolutely love this. This is one of my favorite books by her. So that is my top 7. I kind of landed on a weird number. I had some more, but I didn't actually have copies to show you. So I might do another video with a part 2 of this, but I thought this would be a fun stack to start out with. Well, that's a mess. 7 of my favorite cozy winter reads. What do you have to add to this stack? What are some of your favorite cozy winter reads? I'd love to hear about them. All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye.